What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. I am here with Aiden H. Talks, my main host, co-host. We are back. We are here to talk with you guys about the new Miss Marvel show. First episode finally dropped. We're gonna give you our thoughts, everything that we loved about it, everything that we didn't like. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll just jump right in with my thoughts.
Yeah.
I I really liked it, and I was happy. I'm really happy that it was as good as it was for a first episode. I really think it was one of the best first episodes. And I feel like people say this a lot though. Is the thing, especially on TikTok, you'll read comments. People like best first episode for a Disney Plus show. They said that for Moon Knight anyway,
Yeah.
which we all know my thoughts on Moon Knight. We won't get into that, but I really thought this was one of the better first episodes for a Disney Plus show. Like I thought, um, everything it handled almost every character pretty perfectly, in a way that I would have like to be introduced to all of them. So where we go from there is still yet to be seen, obviously. But I thought this first introduction was really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm so happy that this show is proving a lot of people wrong, including I wouldn't say including myself because I never said that this show was going to be bad. Um, but I did have my fair share of opinions on the powers she had and everything. And first glance at the trailer, I kind of was like, okay, this is going to be completely different. But it completely shocked me. It was really good and I really enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun with it, and overall I'm just really glad that they came out with a bang like this, especially to silence some of those people that did have those strong opinions about the show as a whole. I know there was a lot of people saying, oh, this is bad, this isn't going to be good, mid, blah blah blah. And here we are, me personally enjoying Miss Marvel episode 1 over Kenobi episode 4, and
Yeah,
a lot of people were saying, no, I'm watching Kenobi first. I'm watching Kenobi first. When I woke up this morning and watched both these shows, I was kind of wishing that I had watched Miss Marvel first, um, because it was that good. So I'm glad this is kind of proving everyone wrong. And I'm
yeah,
not afraid to admit whenever I'm wrong. I've been wrong tons of times before. I think on the Thor Love and Thunder podcast, I said I didn't care about Stranger Things at all. And then it came out and now it's like I'm like eating it up. I'm so obsessed with it. So yeah, man, I'm happy that they came out with a bang, and this episode, really hooked me, with
yeah.
the characters and everything. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk about this week to week.
Yeah, and you still have people, even like you're looking like our friend Brendan on TikTok. I look in his comments and there's still people saying it was an L because I don't know if they just didn't really want to, or if they even watched it at all, or if they just didn't even care to pay attention to it. But it's definitely not an L. The character building with almost every character in the show is something to enjoy. I think the animations are awesome. We open the episode with like this really
Oh
cool
yeah.
animation. I also love that it gives us you pointed it out in one of your TikToks, I believe already, that Ant-Man has a podcast, and that's how we found out that, um because we've always had questions about how does the general public know about the what happened in Endgame, because like that was way off at the Avengers facility, like way out of everybody's range. Like sure, we could have just thought, oh, maybe they held a press conference and stuff, but it's like it's nice to know that it's confirmed. Of course, Scott Lang of all people is the one going off and just like blabbing his mouth about all this cool
Yeah.
stuff. um
Yeah.
but to jump back to the animation thing, just I really love everything that they did with the animation in this episode. Like I get that it's part of the reason that people referred to it in the early reviews for this show as a a Disney Channel show, which I don't necessarily completely disagree with. But for the most part, I don't agree with, because like it's just a regular like little teen show, you know. I think the most Disney Channel thing that comes from it is probably, for me anyway, just the plot to like sneak out of her house, sure.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, it's like it's every teenager who is not allowed to go somewhere in like any show or movie, they're gonna try to sneak out of the house, you
Yeah.
know, even if it's not a Disney Channel thing. But I think as far as like the animations popping up everywhere, I could see how people might think that's a Disney Channel thing, but I think that's more just Kamala's imagination, you know, and they're embracing that and bringing it to life because Kamala, as we saw in the very first like 2 minutes of the episode, she's very creative. She's like, when I was actually watching the episode, I was thinking like, dude, I bet editors on TikTok are feeling like they're seen right now. Like this is kind of wild. Like they're just like she's going through and editing all this like little story time thing about,
Yeah,
oh, Captain Marvel came in and saved the Avengers butts and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I was like, dude, this is actually really cool. So I just think it's Kamala imagining all this scenario in her head with like the time stamps of like, oh, we have to get to Avengers Con by this time. I have to get home by this time, to the point where I was like, when she got home and it was like the goal time to get home was like 9:22, and then it scratched that out and said 11:11, and I was like, ah, dude, I feel bad.
yeah,
You already know like one of her parents is going to be waiting in that room for her, and it was just like,
yeah,
dude, this is really really good, and I hope that they can keep that up. I know there's like a formula with these Disney Plus shows. A lot of people say like first episode's really good, and then from then on it's just kind of up and down quality wise. So I hope that changes, but I mean, we'll see. I don't
yeah,
even necessarily have those same thoughts as people on that perspective, but I
yeah,
mean, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I like what you said about, her just like editing everything, and like she feels like us, quite literally, like
Yeah.
with the whole like 2 subscribers and 8 views. I said that on a video. I was like, she's just like me for real. Like 2 subscribers and like 8 views a video. But like, yeah, it's just super cool because like she embodies like all of us, Of
Hmm.
course, we all want to be superheroes, dude, and we do anything to be to have like superpowers. And I look up to all these heroes just like she looks up to Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, icon, bro. And it's just like, not only is it for, it's obviously catered for the younger audience and stuff, but we could still appreciate it for what it is because of those aspects and everything. And yeah, I mean, that intro scene was amazing, and it looks like they did all that stuff practically, like it looks like they made those little um papers and stuff, and they might have like used some like CGI or some like animation and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, from that down to like the title sequence where it just changes between all these like different iterations of how they spell Miss Marvel and like animate it.
Yeah.
It was all super cool, and it just, like I said in the video, it feels like a breath of fresh air, especially, I mean, it's pretty crazy. This is coming off the tail end of Moon Knight, which Moon
Yeah.
Knight, if you compare Moon Knight and this, it's
So
insane.
different. Yeah.
But yeah, it does everything like so good. And if you go in with that mindset that, at the end of the day, it may not be for you, because it's definitely not going to be for everybody. If you go in with that mindset that this is obviously catered towards the younger audience, and they're reaching out to more of their fan base, you can appreciate it for what it is, which
Yeah.
is, um, I said it felt like one of those OG really nice and fun Disney shows. And you brought up, like the plot, and I think that was kind of where it came from, was like the
Hmm.
plot of wanting to sneak out, and all the animation stuff, and just like Kamala Khan as a person, and like having a best friend that is like a tech genius and can do all these things. Like, it just felt like those good old Disney Channel shows. And so it has a lot of heart to it, so I can definitely appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on just Avengers Con in general.
Oh,
Like that, because I think it was news that came out. Let me know if you saw this too, Aiden. I don't know if it was actually true, but because
uh-huh.
after Star Wars Celebration happened, I think Kevin Feige mentioned something like he wants to start like an Avengers
Oh,
type thing,
wow.
like with that as well. I don't know if that's
Huh.
true though. Like I thought I just saw that on Twitter. Could have been one
Yeah.
of those fake like moth culture type things. Um, if that's the case, when I saw that, I immediately thought it was real. I was like, "Yo, that's sick." I like me not being that much of a Star Wars guy. I'm trying to be though. I am watching that, but that's off topic. Um, but me not being that much of a Star Wars guy, hearing that would happen with Avengers Con, and I've always wanted to go to like San Diego Comic Con and stuff like that. But to
Yeah.
hear something like Avengers Con or whatever it was, like Avengers Celebration, whatever Kevin Feige said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Um, to hear that, I was like, "Yo, that's super exciting. I would love to go to that." And then to jump to this now, and it's just all more reason like to show that we relate to Kamala because like she wants to go to Avengers Con more than anything,
Yeah.
and she she makes it a point to get there, and she actually gets there, and it's just this wild and crazy thing, and it's just I don't know. It was really great to see like us kind of vicariously live through her, like just to be in
Yeah.
this universe. Um,
Yeah.
in every shape and fashion and like I don't know I feel like if you struggle to connect with Kamala just because like you hate this show just because of the power thing like you really should I implore you to set that aside, set the whole power thing
Yeah.
aside. Obviously it bugs all of us, it bugs most everybody. I guess I can't say all of it, most people it bugs, and it's but it's definitely something you can look past to give it a chance, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't think I don't really I'd have to watch again for the CGI stuff on the powers. I didn't pay too much attention to how well the powers looked in the moment.
Yeah.
But just setting that aside, just the powers themselves and how different they are from the comics, it's a different take, and that's okay. And I don't necessarily hate it. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
still works similarly. It just looks a little different, and I can understand the complaints with it 100%. And you just I don't know. You have to learn to look past some things to give the show a shot, and that's why I think the first episode was really, really good.
Yeah.
Powers aside.
Yeah. Powers aside, but even then, like the powers are going to be something that I'm going to have to get used to, and that I think I can get used to. Um, as far as like the CGI and everything, the visual effects, it didn't look terrible. I think that was just like, I think when she first puts her hand out and it shoots like those like floating
Just like flat, like
orbs.
yeah,
Yeah, the flat ones. It looks kind of weird, but it's not because the CGI or it's not because like anything like post production. It just kind of looks weird what she's trying to like shoot out. Like it's I think it's
yeah,
meant to look weird. Um because that's the first time she uses those powers. But other than that, I mean, it looks cool. And when she stretched her hand out and caught um,
yeah,
that one girl, I mean, it was still a super hype moment. It would have been cool to see it like her actual hands and stuff, but at the same time, it is something that I know I'll get used to, and that I
yeah.
might have to get used to. But yeah, and I have right here that Kevin Feige did tease whether Miss Marvel's Avenger Con could become a reality.
Okay,
So
okay,
dude, that man, that'd be so awesome.
that'd be
I would.
super cool.
You can call me Kamala Khan because I would do anything to get over there.
For real,
Um,
man.
yeah, it was super cool. Like just the whole like festival and everything they had there. And I just love like the Easter eggs. Like I know she's talking about like morphine. They're talking about like morphine too, like comic book characters together, and they talk about like Doctor Strange Marvel or
Yeah,
Captain
that was
Strange.
really
I don't know.
cool.
Yeah, and like zombie Captain Marvel. And while it's going on, like the animation behind there is just like showing all
Yeah,
these different things. But it was like still cool to just see like them hint at all that stuff. And like I said, especially coming off of Moon Knight, where they don't really mention any Avenger stuff at all, if very little. And to come here where like her whole room is just Captain Marvel, and
yeah,
you go to Avengers Con, you see all these superheroes, all these cosplayers. It was all super cool, and made me feel good. And one thing that I absolutely loved is how they handled the text messaging in here,
yep,
like that
yep,
whole scene where she sends him something and it's spelled out on the lights, and
yes.
then like the camera's just panning to like different like street lamps and neon signs, and it's showing
What
what
they're
they're texting
dude,
each
that was
other.
so good. That was
It was
so good.
awesome, dude. And there's like a lot of moments like that just makes it all visually pleasing.
Yeah, I thought this as far as visuals go for this episode, I was extremely pleased because that's a lot of like film essayists you'll see on YouTube. They say like a lot of the problem with the MCU, they don't have any like visual, not necessarily storytelling, but just compelling visuals to a lot of the projects. And this was everything, not even just the animations and like the text message thing, but like the camera shots. Like I think there's a point when Kamala gets home from school and she does, like, I think we've all done this at least once, like hang upside down on our couch as like a kid or something. And so she
Yeah,
comes from home from school, flops down on the couch upside down. The camera follows her and she hangs upside down while watching TV. Like that's
yeah,
just super super cool. Um, and I think that one point when she got home from Avengers Con, the camera tilts while she's talking to her friend. I can't even remember his name. Terrible with names,
Bruno.
but Bruno.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that just every little choice that they made with like the adding character to this show was super super cool. And I also, I actually forgot about this. One thing that I also think is kind of Disney Channel was when she was outlining her plan to Bruno of how to
uh,
get to Avengers Con and going through like that whole like pretend sequence thing. Yeah, I could see that's probably a little bit Disney Channel. Um, but I could also see the argument still being made for like that's just Kamala's imagination, so it comes and goes, but I think everything else with this show, I'm so glad that you brought that up, the where they meshed like two different heroes together, because I loved that so much when I watched it. Don't know how I forgot it. They did it with
yeah,
like Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel, and then I think they did Captain America as well. It was just
yeah,
so cool, and you see them on the background as they're like riding by. Man, I can't blush about this show enough, because I don't want to go as far as to say it's the best first episode, but I do think it's really, really, really good.
yeah,
Just for everything that they decided to do, and also to touch on the emotion, um, that's something I wanted to talk about. Just to transition a little bit, with Kamala and her parents, I thought they did a fantastic job of setting up their relationship from the very first fight they have about Avengers Con. Uh, After, or I guess not that fight, but the time after, when they come up and say, "Hey, you can go, but you have to go with Abu, and you have to
mhm,
go dressed as Hulk." Um, and then she's like, that would just be super humiliating." And like, you feel bad for Abu, because like
yeah,
he just wants to like like he's willing to spend time with his daughter and trying to do something that his daughter loves, and then just to be told like he'd be super embarrassing as
yeah,
he's dressed up as Hulk, and you feel bad for him, like, damn, Kamala, you didn't need to do that. And it's like we've all probably been there at that one point. Like we've said hurtful things to our parents, I'm sure, at one point or another. um and so there's just so many layers to relate to and be relevant in this show. And then, as I mentioned earlier, when she comes home from Avengers Con, and like her mom sitting in her room, and like everything that her mom says to her, it's like, damn, she's like super hurt by this. And you obviously you kind of side with Kamala, because it's just like, well, she just wanted to go to like a con thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's
yeah,
like her mom just her mom means well, but she just, I don't know, doesn't quite get it the same way we do. And it's, I
yeah.
don't know, you feel for both characters in the moment, I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. I like how you brought up that scene of him like dressed like Hulk and everything, because it did go from like a super funny scene to just like really sad, like so quick. And I was kind of thinking about like, man, I can imagine like painting myself green and then like hearing my daughter or son say that to me. How
Yeah.
like just embarrassed I'd feel, like just I'm sitting here painted green, but I have to act serious and like sad because I am.
Yeah.
I would just want to get out of there so quick and just wash it off my face and just be like, man, what am I doing? And they really make you feel that in that moment. But yeah, like you said, but you understand both sides, one more than the other, obviously, but it does set up a really cool conflict. And that's another thing I like is how the stakes aren't super big. It's not like Ahmet's going to take over the world and kill everybody, or,
Yeah.
you know, Agatha's going to kill this whole town of New Jersey and use Wanda as her puppet. It's just she wants to get to Avengers Con without her parents knowing, and she needs to sneak out. And that's the big conflict of the first episode, which I'm sure we'll get into more, like a main villain or something because of that post credit scene and stuff.
Yeah.
But as for like right now, episode one, it does set up a really cool like story, and I can't imagine there being a huge like world-ending threat in this show. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is catered towards anyone, and like I said. I can't say it enough. It's like a breath of fresh air. And it's funny because I was hanging out with my little sister the other day, and she's like 7 years old. And yeah, she had mentioned to me, she said, "Have you seen the Miss Marvel trailer?" And I was like, "Yeah, it looks really cool." And she said, "Yeah, I think I want to watch it." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Well, they made it more for like younger kids and everything." And so she was like, "Oh, so you can't watch it?" And I was like, "No, I can watch it. I'm still gonna watch it, but like, it'll be something you will enjoy too." And she said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, I can't wait to watch it when it comes out." And I said this in like the video I posted, but that's coming from someone that always making fun of me for like how obsessed I am with Star Wars, Marvel, and everything. She always has something to say about it. So I thought that was pretty cool that it's reaching to kids like that, all across the world, and even people like me and you, and all the people on TikTok that we talk to and hang out with can also enjoy this.
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like Marvel hasn't really done before. I think this is the first PG rated um, content that Marvel's put out.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think so as well.
yeah,
Um, it's actually a really good point that you brought up with the kind of like condensed story that this episode had. Like it didn't lead into anything else. It was kind of just the one singular story that it told this episode, which I think is refreshing as well. It's not immediately lining us up to what are we going to expect like for the rest of the season. They did
yeah,
a little bit in the post credit scene, and that's the thing. I don't know if I'm happy that that happened in a post credit scene or if it should have happened in the episode. I do like that the episode was contained in and of itself, but I also feel like leaving such a big story beat, not well, I guess it is kind of big, a big story beat for like a post credit scene. That was one of my issues with Moon Knight was like the fact that you leave Jake Lockley for a post credit scene in the final episode instead of because had spent the whole season leading up to it. So maybe that's the thing. Like they didn't lead up to anything like that in this episode. So I think I'm probably more on the camp. Like I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that happening. And I'm excited because I don't think it's any going to be like this uh otherworldly bad guy that she has to fight. It's rather just
yeah,
this like organization, damage control, I think,
yeah,
that's gonna try to bring her in. And so I think that because I think in the trailer we saw her like blocking bullets and stuff with her powers. So I think I don't know. It should be interesting. It should be a different type of villain. Maybe this is like the side that we didn't get to see from No Way Home because
yeah,
Peter hardly have to had to deal with them.
yeah. Um, and that is very cool too to finally see some stuff spilling in from the movies into like these new shows and stuff. Because I think before, I mean, we just got like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Three movies that we still haven't really seen play in. Besides like Black Widow, obviously, but like
Yeah,
Shang-Chi and Eternals haven't really seen spill into the shows yet. Um, or even the broader MCU at that. I don't even think we've gotten reference to that celestial popping out of the ocean in Eternals or anything that happened in Shang-Chi. I don't think we've seen any of that in the MCU
yeah,
yet, reference to. Um, but yeah, that was one of my big gripes with Hawkeye also, where it's like I don't need to see a Spider-Man cameo. I don't need Spider-Man to come in and steal the show, but you have how much villains in New York and you have this huge tree falling over. How is this not going to affect either story, whether it's Hawkeye
right.
or Spider-Man? So to kind of start to see things kind of starting to trickle into these shows now, it's pretty cool, and I am excited to see what they do with this. I know there's also another shot in the trailer where we see like five people standing, and they're shadowed out by the light behind them, and Kamala's kind of like blocking the light.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm interested to see. I guess let's talk about that a little bit. Like, where do we go from episode one? Like, where do we go after this in that post credit scene? um I guess I'll start. I feel like obviously they're coming after her powers, or they see that it's another superhero or another powered individual, and so they kind of want. I mean, it's hard to even put a finger down on what these people want because they were coming after Spider-Man as well.
That's
So
actually a good point. Yeah.
yeah, I'm wondering. maybe if it's like another Hydra situation where it's not Hydra obviously doing this stuff, but maybe they're another secret group that's trying to kind of, you know, recruit all these heroes or kind of like put an end to them. I don't know. It's kind of interesting because they brought this dude in particular back for a reason, and they introduced him in Spider-Man for a reason, or else he would have just been no name number 12 extra, you know, that interrogated Peter Parker for 5 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough to theorize right now, but I feel like it'll probably have something to do with wanting to control Kamala's powers.
As you were talking, I was actually just thinking, what if it has to do with the Sokovia Accords in some way? Even
Hmm.
though I know Peter fought on Tony's side, but did Peter actually ever sign the Accords? Like, I don't think he ever did that, because I mean he's a kid
Yeah,
also. Like, I don't know if he can do that. So maybe that's part of the reason that they brought Peter in. Like, they were told by Mysterio that he broke all these laws and whatnot,
yeah,
and he's not registered with the Sokovia Accords, and so now they see this new hero, Kamala. They obviously don't know that it's Kamala yet, but they just see this new hero that they don't have any records of in the Sokovia Accord, so they have to
yeah,
bring her in and be like, "You're breaking the law. If you don't stop, we're gonna like arrest you and whatnot,
yeah,
prosecute you." That type of thing. That's the only theory. That's the working theory I have right now. Because yeah, other than that, I don't see why damage control is going around wrapping up all these people, and maybe that's why
yeah,
they also like interviewed Aunt May and MJ and stuff like that too, because like they were aiding and abetting this criminal that is the criminal of the United States, because he like with the Sokovia Accords he's not involved, but at the same time Doctor Strange isn't in the Sokovia Accords either. Maybe they just have a harder time catching Doctor Strange.
yeah,
I don't know. That's my theory. That's the theory I'm going with right now, is just the Sokovia Accords, because I don't think they were ever ratified or anything like that. They're still in place even
yeah,
after the Thanos blip and everything. Um, but it's weird because in the comics, I know damage control was more for just like cleanup and stuff after like big events and stuff like that. Um, but
yeah.
obviously they're
Um,
taking a different direction with it. So, and I don't dislike it right now. So
yeah. I mean,
hopefully, hopefully it keeps turning out the right way.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, like I said, seeing them bring them back, and they obviously did it for a reason. They know what they want to do. The Sokovia Accords, yeah, that is very interesting. I didn't think about that, but that does make sense. That because that lady does tell him, "Hey, have you seen this?" And he's like, "It's probably just another like cosplayer with too much time on their hands." And she's
Yeah,
like, "No, like this is something we should be looking out for." And he immediately says, "Bring her in."
yeah,
So yeah, it seems like they are tracking down any like superhero or powered individuals. For what reason? I don't know. It could. I think the Sokovia Accords is honestly the theory that makes the most sense in my mind right now. Um, because yeah, as far as they know, Kamal Khan is, and it is true that she's like this new hero that got these powers out of nowhere, and her
yeah,
powers too. I'm interested about that because like they said what her aunt sent that box over.
yeah,
Um, and as soon as she picked it up, her mom kind of like looked at her funny and was like, "It's junk. Like
yeah. I,
put that down."
her mom definitely knows something about it for sure. It seems like.
Yeah, and I think they even said something about like, you know, she's like, "I've seen what these obsessions can do to people," and I think she says, "Oh yeah, like aunt some so and so or whatever." She says something along those lines. Can't remember the aunt's name, but she says like aunt whatever, and the mom kind of like says yes or something. Can't remember the scene exactly, but
Mhm.
she does bring up something about the aunt being obsessed with these things too. And so yeah, I'm very interested. I don't know much about Miss Marvel from the comics. I know obviously she's an Inhuman, which they're not doing this and that, or they're not doing that in this show. Um, I guess they're kind of taking it this other route,
Yeah,
but I wonder what they're gonna do with this and with the aunt, because yeah, the mom seems super like she knows something for sure.
yeah. It seemed I didn't catch on to that right away, um, but later I was thinking about how, because I was wondering how the box got up in the attic, and because I completely spaced out on that for some reason first time I was watching it, but then I remembered like, okay, yeah, the mom took it away, and she did take it away rather quickly, um, and so but then at the same time, well, I guess her mom was pissed, so she probably didn't notice that. But I was gonna say when Kamala came home and during the night, and Kamala was still wearing it, still wearing the gauntlet or amulet. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
On her wrist. And her mom didn't say anything, but maybe her mom was just too pissed to be looking around. So I don't know. I think they are setting up something like that, but they just don't want to make it too obvious right now. Um, I don't know if it's anything like her mom has used the powers before or anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
if that'd be the case, then it'd probably be like another case of, oh, there was this hero all along in the MCU that we just never knew about, that type of
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Yeah.
which like I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, there's definitely ways you can explain it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like we're seeing everywhere in the MCU all at once. It's not like we hear about everything clearly. We like nobody's talked, like you just said, nobody's talked about a giant eternal or
Celestial
celestial,
popping out
yeah,
of
popping out of
the
the ocean, like,
yeah.
so
Or coming out of the sky. He like just parts the clouds and
yeah, like you
everyone's like, what is this? He's just like, come here. And nobody says
exactly.
anything about it.
Exactly. So it's not like we would see everything that goes on in the MCU all at once.
Yeah.
Um Definitely probably has something to do with her aunt. Maybe her aunt had to have used them at some point in the past, and we just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we'll probably get some sort of like flashback. I don't know if it'll be a whole episode, but I'm sure we'll get like a decently sized flashback talking about where the gauntlets come from and whatnot like that.
Yeah, and I was rewatching the scene and yeah, she says that I know Kamala calls her Nani, but I don't know if that's really her name, but I'm gonna go with that for now. She says I think the mom says she's not gonna die until she keeps sending until she sends us all of her junk. And she's like, oh, this is pretty cool. And the mom kind of looks and she has this like worried look on her face. And she walks up mad and takes it and she says, that is junk. Puts it away and tells the older brother, take this and put this in the attic right now.
Okay.
So there is something because she acts very assertive right there with that gauntlet. So yeah, I guess something to look out for. We can kind of look out for old dude, old buddy from No Way Home, and for any other news with her aunt and her mom kind of knowing about these powers.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I wonder if that video that I guess they took at Avenger Con of Kamala using it is going to get to her parents or get around to her mom and she's going to kind of freak out or maybe even tell her the truth. Like, so I think she had the sleeve, her Captain Marvel sleeve over the gauntlet when she came home.
Oh,
And
she did.
that's why her
Okay.
mom gets it. Because I think when she lays down on her bed, which they do that other cool trick, she lays down on her bed and the camera follows her and she picks up her hand and pulls her sleeve down and she looks at it and she says cosmic because
Yeah.
her mom gives her that decision. Are you going to be yourself or are you going to be cosmic in the clouds, whatever? So, yeah.
Bringing up her Miss Marvel outfit for a second. Sorry to cut
Yeah.
you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
Because I completely forgot about this, but when she first puts it on in the episode, she's looking in the mirror. Um, she like ruffles it around or whatever, like she's trying to like make it look better or whatnot. And she's about to put like this scarf or what I don't know what it might be called around herself as soon as her parents try to walk in, and then she puts herself in a robe. And I just think that's
Yeah.
really good. Like they're setting up how the fact that she's not exactly comfortable in her own skin, and
Yeah.
obviously that's just like another thing that people can relate to her with. But I think it's but beyond that, it's touching on like her comic roots, and like she wants to be Captain Marvel so bad, but she's eventually going to learn to just be happy with herself, and
Yeah.
so they are laying the groundwork for that a little bit, um, and I think that was like the perfect way to slightly introduce it in like a more human way, like, oh, this looks a little tight here. I don't like how this looks. Let me cover this part of me up, and
Yeah.
then in the future we'll probably see how that evolves. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Um, yeah, and I know Marvel also posted something that I guess a fan sent in and was like, I can't remember the exact letter, so I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I think it was just basically like, I'm glad I can finally have a hero that looks like me on the screen and that I can relate to so much. And I think it was sent from somewhere else around the world, and it was just like it's just so touching, and
yeah,
seeing that this character is already like getting a lot of people to relate to her, even 20-year-old dudes like me and you, like we relate
Yeah,
to Kamala just based off of like how much of a fangirl she is, because we're fangirls too. So
exactly.
I think it's pretty cool that yeah, they're able to touch base with everyone, and I'm really glad that the critics rated this as high. I mean, it deserves it, but I'm glad that even if you look at that Rotten Tomatoes score, that the audience is gonna give it, because they're gonna bash it, because that's
Yeah.
just how people are. I'm glad that
It,
you can look at that critics review and see that fresh little 92% right there next to it,
amen.
because that's exactly what it deserves.
Yeah. That's actually really 'cause the cultural representation. And granted, I don't know much about Muslim culture at all.
Mhm.
Um, but it was refreshing for absolutely like to see something different. Um, in the MCU. Even that's what that should be. Like, I don't want to get up on my soapbox or anything right now, but it's just like it
Yeah,
shouldn't be frowned upon. It shouldn't be like, oh, they're trying to shove this down my throat just because it's something different and something you're not used to. Like, that's the thing. It's like I'm more open to this. I'm liking this because it's different. I'm seeing the way they all interact with each other. Like, her brother is getting married. I'm sure that's going to be like this whole different experience that I've never seen before. And
yeah,
so I'm excited to see where it all goes. And I don't know if it's being done properly, because again, I don't know much about Muslim culture at all. But I hope it is, and I'm actually excited to see what people like on Twitter might be saying about it, who
yeah,
are more ingrained in Muslim culture like that, because
yeah,
I hope it's being done well. But I know people had issue with the Jewish representation in Moon Knight and stuff like that. So
yeah,
Marvel hasn't always done it right, but I hope this time it's an exception.
yeah. Me too, and I am excited to see that wedding scene. I know that there's a shot of it in the trailer, I'm thinking, where she is the big. It's like it was a big shot in the trailer where she used her embiggening power. So
Mhm.
that could be something to look out for, also, like her doing that at the wedding. So yeah, they could take this any direction. I'm just excited to see where it goes, and where they go from here. It was a very strong first episode,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Oh,
I
wait,
hope they
one more
carry
thing.
this.
Sorry to cut you off
No,
again.
no, you're good.
The more thing I want to touch on, because we talked about, I should have talked about it when we were talking about connections to the MCU, but
Yeah.
uh, just that scene, and I love that they lingered on this as well when at Avengers Con, when the camera's jumping around showing us everything. I'm looking at it right now, which I obviously there is some things you can complain about. Like, I thought of this last night, like looking at the Groot T-shirt where he's like fully grown.
Hmm.
How does anybody on Earth even know what full grown Groot looks like? Um,
Yeah,
but
true.
I mean, that's like one of those things. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm not gonna focus on that, but it
Yeah.
holds on a shot of like a bunch of people walking up to a wall with Nat and Tony on it, saying
Yeah.
that says thank you for your sacrifice, and everybody's like leaving notes and stuff, and like that's super cool to me. I love that so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I'm glad that Nat is getting her due diligence in this,
Yeah, not just
because
Tony. Yeah,
yeah, not just Tony, because they did, and especially in like Far From Home, they did only focus on Tony. I understand, because like Spider-Man's closest like friend was Tony, in a sense,
right.
in the superhero world. So I understand, but yeah, like Wanda said also, where she's like, or I think Wanda mentioned something. If she didn't, I might literally just be grabbing something I saw off of TikTok, where
Uh-huh.
they talk. Everyone talks about Tony and like Natasha, but barely anyone talks about like Vision and like his sacrifice and stuff, and
Yeah,
how he was one of the lives lost as well. Um, and how they couldn't bring Vision back the same way they couldn't bring Tony or Nat back. So yeah, it's awesome seeing Natasha get her
her
get
due
honored in
diligence.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, get her due diligence in here. It was a very touching scene, and I like how it kind of all like slowed down at that scene. Everything's real fast, and you're
yeah,
seeing all this stuff,
exactly.
and then it kind of just like lingers on that for a little bit,
100%.
and then goes back to like the fast paced cool thing. So
Yeah,
dude, oh my god, I want to go to this so bad, bro.
yeah,
Like it
dude.
looks so cool.
That'd
All
be
the
so sick.
shirts and stuff. Oh, that looks so sick, man. I just know that if they ever do this, and it's a big thing like Star Wars Celebration, it's gonna be so hard to get in. Like,
Mm,
it's not gonna be
yeah.
like, oh, hey, it's here in Austin or Dallas, for me, or like, for you, it's in your big town. Like, okay, well, all of us can go, and then you're like, you're there, and it's just you and your buddy, which will also, which will also be cool. But like, imagine how cooler it'd be if we go and it's like me, you, Ben, Brendan,
Yeah.
everybody all
That'd be
chilling.
sick.
Like, it'd be super cool. It would be hard to get in though,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I don't care, dude. Oh my god, I'm just gonna like rewatch this scene on loop because of like all the cool stuff there is. Um, yeah, I really hope Kevin Feige does make this a real thing.
Yeah, that would be dude. We got to try to go if they do. We have to at least try.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, man. Overall, I love this episode. I gave it a rating earlier. I'm interested to see what your rating is. I said high 8 out of 10. I thought it was amazing. Could even say low 9. Very solid first episode, and kind of just sets the tone and lets you know what you're in for this new hero and this new show we got.
Yeah, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10, me personally. I think like I really really like there's not much that I don't that I think I disliked. Um well, I guess saying that, then why wouldn't I make it a 10 out of 10? But I think other than the power, like my main thing with the powers is just like I'm like I'd be a bit more okay with the powers if like she actually got them, but it's just a gauntlet, you know? Like
Yeah,
this is a lot more like Green Lantern, and it's just like, which I like Green Lantern, don't get me wrong. It's just I don't know. It's like we're trading one copycat for another, and I'm still not sure why. I feel like we haven't really got a great explanation as to why she has different powers. And I don't know. Well, obviously, I don't think they're going to explain that in the show. They're not going to be like, "Here's why you don't have stretchy power." Like they're not going to do
yeah,
that. But um, so the explanation part, like I can't really put that on the show, but it still just seems it's a little bit weird to me. Like it takes me out of it. But I'm hoping that I learn to like them a bit more. Like I think they're okay for sure. Like I don't hate them by any means. Um, but I don't know. It just takes me out of it a tiny little bit. So I think that's probably why I'll put it at a 9 out of 10.
awesome. Yeah. One other thing, I was just like rewatching that sequence and everything. Um, her friend Zoe, she
Mhm.
has like a very comic accurate, like not to Kamala, but like the other Miss Marvel. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the comics, but like um it's a blonde, a white blonde lady, Miss Marvel. I don't know the name of it. Anyways, she kind of has a super comic accurate look to that iteration of Miss Marvel, and I think Bruno looks over to her and they're like, she doesn't even, she doesn't even look like her. She's not even dressed up like her, and they kind of
Right.
like make fun of her. It's not even accurate. Yeah, something like that. And I thought that was a cool little funny nod because she looks super comic accurate to like um, that Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So a cool little tease they had. But yeah, I really enjoyed this show or this episode. I'm excited to see where this show goes, and I'm looking forward to it. After this, we kind of I think we have She-Hulk and I Am Groot. So
Yeah, the I Am Groot announcement caught me by surprise. I didn't think that was gonna
yeah,
come out in August as well. Comes out, I think, before She-Hulk, I think.
yeah, it comes out a week before She-Hulk, and I guess they'll be coming out at the same time along with Andor. So August is going
Okay.
to be jam packed as well because I think they might have to change up the schedule, which I think they will, because if they don't, I think that every Wednesday we'll have I Am Groot, She Hulk, and Andor all at once every Wednesday
Damn,
night
that'd be
or
crazy.
Wednesday morning. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be insane because right now we're dealing with 2 episodes a night,
Mhm.
and even that's kind of overwhelming to us a little bit. On top of like the boys a week later, so imagine like 3 episodes on top of like another episode later in the week. It's like 4 episodes a week that
That's
you're getting
crazy.
all types of content. So, um, but yeah, I'm super excited. Uh, is there any last thoughts you wanted to leave us off on with Miss Marvel?
I'm super excited for what's to come. Like this first episode, I already said it, but I just can't stop reiterating it. Like this was a perfect way to start it. I feel like this to me shut down all the people who said this show was going to be an L, and anybody who's still saying this show is going to be an L is an L themselves, because like this,
Yeah.
like you can't say that this first episode wasn't good. Like this is everything that we needed it to be at the beginning. Give us the proper attachments to each character, give us the motivations, um give us the problems, the family problems, all the relatable problems. This was perfect. Like this is uh, I have no notes. I have no notes other than the powers thing, like I said. So
Yeah.
uh, I just cannot wait. It's one of those things where like I'm bummed that it's not like all at once type thing, but I'm not at the same time, because I like the week to week schedule, but I really want to keep watching the show. Like I want to watch
Yeah.
more. Um,
Yeah.
so, but we'll just have to wait every week and see what we get.
Yeah. Yep. And definitely Thursday or Friday, me and you will be speaking again, getting episode 4 of The Boys.
The
And
boys, yes.
yeah, so I'm very excited for that. Uh, I don't have anything left on Miss Marvel other than, yeah, it was amazing. We gave it all the praise that we could. And if you're listening to this and for some reason you haven't watched the episode or you want to see other people's thoughts and everything before you watch it, I say go watch this right now. Do yourself a favor
Absolutely.
and go watch this and just experience it and enjoy it for what it is, um, because that's what this show deserves. So, yeah, um, that's all I really have. I guess we will be seeing you soon again for the boys.
Mhm.
Um, I might also drop the phase 3 tier list here in a couple days on top of like this one, because we're on that grind, especially with
Day
all
in,
this
day out.
content. Yeah, content coming out. So I'm very excited for the next couple weeks. You can find me here. I'm really just posting the podcast stuff on the YouTube, so you can find both of us here. Um, you can find me on TikTok under the same name. Charlie, you want to plug anything you're doing right now, and then kind of send us out of
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok as well. I post every day so far. Been on a streak, thankfully.
Hey.
Um, but yeah, you can find me on TikTok for under It's Cubson. I wish I could just use Cubson, but it's taken. um, not really doing much outside of that. I do stream on Twitch. Same name, It's Cubson. But other than that, you can just find lots of superhero content. I'm trying to branch out. I'm watching Kenobi right now, or not Kenobi. I'm watching Star Wars right now. I will watch Kenobi here soon, and then we'll probably hop on an episode for that as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's about all I got. You can follow me on Twitter, I guess, at Cubson underscore. But that's all I got.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and we got a lot of stuff dropping in the feed this week. And if you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify and you want to put some faces to the names, because we got some beautiful faces right here that should be looked at. If I'm being honest. Now
True that.
you can go find it on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you would rather just listen, because you're busy or you have a long drive, you can find us on Spotify. So just Words from the Nerds podcast. And with that, we got Miss Marvel episode 1, and we will be seeing y'all back soon for a completely different show. A completely different.
Yeah, couldn't take a sharper turn. Could not take a sharper turn.
Oh man, hey, that's what I love about this, though. That's what I love
Yeah.
about covering all these things.
It's not the
Um,
same thing, exactly, you get different things from
yeah,
everything, so
and you have completely different discussions for everything. So, yeah, we will be seeing y'all with that. And without further ado, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Consider showing us any love, support. Linktree is in the bio for everyone's socials, even Ben, even though he's not here, because we still want to support him. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you for listening. Peace.
adios.